What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Triple Play Fantasy Network here at Triple Play YouTube channel. And I am your host, Kevin Coleman. And I'm bringing you a little bit of a different episode today. I don't know if you've been noticing in college football, the transfer portal has been going nuts this season. And so I wanted to give a little bit of a transfer portal update on some guys that have moved, gone to different teams. We've had some massive names get transferred. And I think that really elevates the Devy perspective of like, what can we expect from these guys? So for all of these guys, I want to give a little Devy outlook. So I'll be looking at, hey, where they went, their new jobs, what you can expect for them, where you should be drafting at. One thing that has happened is we're starting to see some mocks going around, Campus of Canton mocks, Devy mocks around there, and we're starting to get a little bit of a ADP right now. And so I wanted to kind of mention like, hey, a little too high for me, a little too low for me. Where these guys go? So without further ado, we're going to jump into these guys and just see kind of where you expect. It's going to be a crazy wild. We talked about it on the Devy Royale. The one thing that you need to know about Devy right now is that you're going to see another influx of transfer portal guys. Right now, you're seeing it, and then after the bowl games, you're going to see a little bit of a bump, and then after spring games, you're going to see a huge bump. When guys figure out where the hell they're getting, where they're at in the depth chart, you're going to see guys legit just leave. And so you're going to see a big bump here. So you got to be patient with these things. It's going to come in modes. So basically, you're going to see one now. You're going to see one a little bit after the bowl games, and you're going to see it big after the spring games. So let's talk about the first guy that I think we need to mention. That's Quinn Ewers. You know, Quinn Ewers is supposed to be one of the best prospects coming out of high school. We all know what he did. As you can see here, he went to Ohio State. He didn't play, and there was talk about him not even being better than Kyle McCord, that he's very raw as a prospect. But what do you expect? I mean, he's an 18-year-old kid. He was supposed to play high school football this year, and he went to one of the best programs in the country. So there has been talk about him just not being ready. Now, we all know where he transferred. He transferred to Texas, and you know, home state boy coming back to Texas is a great story, and especially just with everything that's going on in Texas right now. We know Sarkisian's there is trying to turn that thing around. He's going to probably start next year. I mean, there's one of those things we can talk about. That Texas program literally had no quarterbacks. You saw Casey Thompson there. He was problematic, and Hudson Card problematic. We've seen them kind of jump in the transfer portal. We've seen those guys there. When you're looking at who Quinn Ewers is, remember, he scored the highest, I believe, of the Spark score in 247 Sports, 1,000 perfect score. That's how good he is there. He's going to step in and start right away. There's really no Malik Murphy's supposed to be going there. I don't think he's changed his recruitment there, but he's going to step in and go. Now, who's going to have around him? He's going to have Bijan Robinson, most people's one-on-one in Devy formats. Who's going to be throwing the ball to? Xavier Worthy, who had a breakout season as a true freshman, 62 passes, 981 yards, and 12 touchdowns. He's got Jordan Whittington there, Marcus Washington. He's got some guys there. And, you know, his offensive line gets 3 starters. You're going to see a little bit better. I think he's going to elevate that offense, especially with where they're at. They were 49th in the country last year with total yards, but they were 21st in scoring. So I do think he's going to go in right away. I like his production. He's going to be a starter. Now let's talk about his ADP. Where's his ADP at right now? Right now, Quinn Ewers' ADP is QB2. So he's going QB2 overall in all formats, and he's getting drafted basically at the back end of the first. I don't hate it, but you also, you know, you're taking a little bit of risk with QBs, which we saw for DJU, Spencer Rattler, who we're going to talk about a little bit. You know, when you're looking at the top 5 guys right now, Bryce Young, Quinn Ewers, Caleb Williams, CJ Stroud, and Jackson Dart, I actually don't hate where Quinn is going because I think you're going to get a start from him. I think he's going to come in Texas offense. I love Sarkisian as an offensive coordinator. He's done amazing things as an offensive coordinator. As a head coach, he's to be determined. I like it, but I would be nervous. I would say if you're going to take it, it's a risky pick, but it's not a bad pick just based on, you know, who he is as a recruiting prowess, who he has there. He's got some weapons. I actually like the move. Now, our next guy that we're going to be talking about, oh, man, Jahmyr Gibbs, and one of my favorite kind of running backs that has come out the last 2 years. He was at Georgia Tech. They wasted him at Georgia Tech, and he just transferred to Alabama. So Alabama gets richer here, and when we talk about Alabama, this is exactly what they needed. So when we look at him as an overall prospect, I mean, PPR formats, he's great. He's one of the best pass-catching backs of this class. Then you're looking at, okay, so you look at Gibbs and what he's able to do. How does he fit in this loaded Alabama room? Well, they wouldn't have got him if they didn't need him. And we've seen it this year. We've seen him banged up down the stretch. We've seen a lot of guys getting hurt. You know, Roydell Williams was there, but he hurt his knee. Jace McClellan suffered a knee injury. They're talking about Jace McClellan maybe entering a transfer portal. A place to look out for with McClellan is Oklahoma. He switched his recruiting at the end. I know that Lincoln's not there anymore, but you never know. They might need that. They need some running back depth in Oklahoma. So if he does into the portal, you see Gibbs going to step right in. I don't see how he doesn't just step right in. You're going to run the football. They're going to give him the attention that he needs. Versatility. Hey, he's a multi-dimensional weapon. So he's going to do a bunch of different roles. You need to understand, as a running back, he had 768 yards and 5 receiving touchdowns in 2 seasons. So he's done that. He had 794 yards, another scoring kickoff return. I think Gibbs is going to be using that kind of role that we've seen Waddle and all these other guys, JoJo Earl before he got hurt, even Jameson. He's going to be just an all-purpose guy, and he's going to step in and be that producer. And he's a farm system man. When we're talking about kind of what Alabama produces, they produce first-round running backs and second-round running backs. So he's going to get the draft capital. This is a perfect spot for Gibbs. Absolutely love it. And, hey, if you hate it, remember, Saban told you this was what going to happen. I don't know what to tell you there. Now, where's his ADP going right now? Bijan's going first. Travion's going second. Gibbs is going third. That's essentially running back third of there. He's going basically in top 4 picks. I don't see any Devy draft or C2C draft where you don't see basically Bryce, Bijan, Henderson, and Gibbs going in the first 4. If it's not those 4 guys, I don't know what to tell you. I don't think that it's going to be there unless someone reaches on Quinn and they really believe in him. I don't see him not those 4 guys not going in there. I don't hate it. I think Gibbs is going to be in the top 3. I would probably take Bijan and Travion Henderson over Gibbs. If it's C2C, if it's Devy, I could see the argument for Gibbs over Henderson because more production. I still would take Henderson personally, but this was a smash transfer. Absolutely love this for Gibbs and absolutely love this for Alabama. Now, my next guy that we're going to talk about, and I had on the board if you saw it earlier, Spencer Rattler. So Spencer Rattler is going to transfer to South Carolina. Now, we know the much maligned Spencer Rattler, what we've talked about there. I want to kind of talk about he's going to step in and start. So let's be clear there. I don't think that he's not going to win that job. They've talked about it. They've seen the offensive coordinator, the head coach there. Even Satterfield's been there. He's been saying, hey, this is what we wanted. He talked about, hey, he's an elite quarterback. So he's saying all the right things about Rattler. He's saying, hey, we have chips on our shoulders. Let's go. Now, I will say this. The one selling point that I think that they sold Rattler on is they talked about him hey, we've had a couple quarterbacks that come in here and we run an NFL pro-style system. So basically they said, hey, we run this pro-style system for you. If you want to get ready for the NFL, we'll come here. And I think that's going to be huge. Now, he gets there in the campus. He's going to be there early. He's going to learn that system. So I don't hate the spot for him. He's got to compete, though. And if you're going to go to the SEC, you better do that against SEC defenses. So to me, Spencer is an average quarterback, but he can turn it around. So if he comes out, and I was looking at the South Carolina schedule, so let's talk about this. Georgia State, first game of the year. Okay, you should do well there. Then he's got Arkansas and Georgia. Those 2 games are going to be very telling because then you got South Carolina State, Charlotte, those schools. But if he can do well against Arkansas and Georgia, then his value goes up. So that's what we're talking about. So it's realistically, Spencer's got to have a good few games there. He's got to limit those mistakes. He's got to be a team player. We have to see some development out of him. The biggest thing I think we'll have to say about him is he going to be able to mature based on this? Is he going to take this as like a chip on his shoulder? Hey, let's drive. They didn't want me, so let's make myself better. Or is he going to be that kid that we saw on, QB1 and those type of things with that arrogance in there? I don't know. I'm rooting for him. I hope Spencer comes out and plays well. I think in this offense, I think the weapons there are a little bit desired. I know Stogner's going there with them and these other guys. I like that running back room, so maybe they lean on there. They limit his mistakes. They won't pressure him as much in that offense, pro style, more areas. So big year for him. What can he do? Now, as far as where his ADP is going, it's too high for me. He's going as QB9, but you're literally drafting him at his peak value there right now. And that is too high. Don't draft Spencer Rattler right there. There's other guys you can get later, especially in C2C formats, but he's not a Devy draftable quarterback. I'm staying away from him right now. Stay away from him. If you're in a startup, my biggest advice, go young at quarterback on the NFL side and just kind of hammer some value in the middle rounds. You're talking about guys that went, Kenny Pickett, we looked at this. He went QB 90 last year in C2C ADP. Rattler's not worth a QB 9 ADP right now. Okay. So don't overreach on Rattler because he's going to the Gamecocks. Now, next guy that transferred is my guy, Dillon Gabriel. And I was pretty high on Dillon Gabriel. I liked him. Obviously UCF didn't work out. Gus ruins everything. But if we're looking at kind of where he's going to UCLA. So let's talk about this. I don't love the fit, to be completely honest. When you're looking at what he did now, Gabriel's put up a prolific career. So we've seen him produce 8,000 yards, 70 touchdowns, only 14 interceptions in a high-flying offense at UCF. Now, let's talk about UCLA, though. So Dorian Thompson-Robinson could come back. So when he looks at that extra COVID year, we could have that. And DTR kind of is that quarterback for Kelly's system. Strong arm, pocket mobility, difference maker, those type of thing. Now, the thing is that I like about Gabriel is that Kelly has always said he wanted a pass-first quarterback with a strong arm, but one who can also handle the added responsibility of being more just a really runner. So DTR has kind of been that runner guy. I think Gabriel tends to fit Kelly's system a little bit better because I think that he wants to move the ball a little bit through the passing game. And I think that sometimes UCLA's offense can get too one-dimensional. So I don't hate this spot for him. I don't love this spot for him, but I do think that he can produce in that offense. The biggest question mark is like, where are you drafting him right now based on DTR not saying he's coming back or not coming back? So I think there's some question marks there. If you have him, you can't hate this spot because I do think he's going to produce. I like him with Kelly. Kelly is a phenomenal offensive coordinator. He always has been. So I don't hate this spot for him. I wish he would have went somewhere maybe a little bit better. I really thought Ole Miss would have been a better spot for him just based on production, not based on team. So don't yell at me, UCLA fans. I just thought as a Gabriel owner, someone who has him in C2C, I would have loved him to go to that Ole Miss offense, but he did not go. Now, next guy that I'm never going to not talk about is my boy Jadon Haselwood. Listen, Jadon Haselwood, he was a number 4 overall prospect in 2019. 6'3", 202-pound wide receiver. He's a redshirt junior now because he had his injuries there. He had 39 catches, 399 yards, and 6 touchdowns as a sophomore. He only played in three games in 2020 because he tore his ACL. He had 19 catches, 272 yards, and a touchdown as a true freshman in 2019. I like Jadon Haselwood. I really feel like he can go somewhere and he can compete. And when you look at what he's been able to do, that Oklahoma offense was a mess this last season. The quarterback was there. We've seen that. We talked about Rattler earlier, and he didn't produce. Now he goes to, I think, a good spot, Arkansas. And what we've seen with Arkansas is, they had Treylon Burks, but they're going to lose him. He had 1,100 yards, 11 touchdowns this season, so we saw that. And there's really not very much production anywhere else. Warren Thompson probably is their guy coming back, had 18 receptions, and he's probably the top returning wideout in that offense. He's going to get plenty of opportunities in Kendall Briles' spread offense. So, I really actually kind of like Jadon Haselwood from your Devy perspective, but especially C2C perspective. I think that he's going to be a solid, sneaky play because people are going to be sour on him. I believe I saw Jadon go. I was recently doing a mock for you guys so I could tell you 24th round in a C2C. Hey, you know what? I'll take the shot at him, especially if he could be the leading target getter in this offense. Give me Haselwood at that discounted price, especially because he's going probably 10th, 11th, 12th round last year. So give me him at the discounted price now. Now, the last guy that I want to talk about is someone that if you follow me, if you like me, if you don't like me, if you just seen what I've talked about, Kedon Slovis has been on my do not draft list for the last, year and a half. Now, this is to say that he's not good. When we look at Kedon Slovis, he started 3 years at USC. He threw for over 7,000 yards, 58 touchdowns, 68.4% completion percentage. He struggled as a junior, though, and I think that's the key. Well, he really struggled as a sophomore and a junior, and he suffered a season-ending knee injury. He had only 21 yards, 11 touchdowns, and he's been struggling with injuries the last few years of his career. I mean, even his freshman year, his shoulder injury. They always made excuses for Slovis, and I think the biggest thing was he got benched for Jackson Dart. They knew that it was going to go. We saw Lincoln Riley go to USC, saw the writing on the wall, and he needed to transfer. Now, did he pick a good spot? I think he actually kind of did. Pitt, he's going to Pitt, and he's going to take over for Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett last year, he's a Heisman finalist, 4,000 yards, 42 touchdowns. We see him grow, and we saw him grow in that offense, and everything was there. Now, the biggest question mark, though, is they're losing offensive coordinator Mark Whipple. He went to Nebraska. So can Pat Narduzzi get an offensive-minded coach in there because he's a defensive-minded coach to help him with this development? So I think that is a question mark. So I do think we need to limit our expectations of Slovis right away because it's not going to be Pickett's offense that he's running here. It's going to be something new that comes in there. Now, can he rehab himself to kind of get in a first-round pick? I don't see that. But when you look at maybe his production, what you saw, so his passer rating dropped from 167 to 132 in Graham Harrell's air raid offense, and he did that for those 2 years. I think he fits more into a pro-style system, which will be good. There's going to be less pressure going to Pittsburgh from LA. Kind of a fresh new start for everybody. So I don't really hate it. I think it's just going to have to be, hey, what can he do from a quarterback perspective? How well can he kind of transfer himself into that system? Does he get with Jordan Addison, and how well does that work? Jordan Addison is coming back. I think that Jordan Addison is going to be okay. in terms of Devy perspective, in terms of your production there. I don't see a big drop off because they're going to use him, and that's just how they're going to be doing that there. And I think that you're going to get a lot of dump offs, a lot of quick slants, a lot of things to him that Slovis does well. He'll throw it up. I don't see Slovis being a relevant NFL quarterback, but for C2C purposes, I don't hate it, especially because he's going to not get drafted very high, guys, especially towards the middle of the year in startups. If you got to take Slovis as just, hey, you're 1 year producer. I mean, to be perfectly clear, I would take Slovis over like Brock Purdy was getting drafted last year. That's kind of how I there. So I don't hate Slovis, but again, not a bad spot for him, though. He picked a pretty good area. So just understanding the Devy outlook and how these things go. Look at everything when you're drafting these guys. Don't overdraft certain players, especially the quarterback positions like Spencer Rattler and these other guys. And I'll be updating the transfer portal. We're not done yet. I'm excited about it. So we're not done yet for the transfer portal. I just want to say I appreciate you guys as always. I want to give a plug to if you like college football, if you're watching this, I am writing a college football guide for Fantasy Points right now, who definitely we are affiliated with through the Triple Play program. It's only $25. We're breaking out every single bowl game, and we're looking at breakdowns, money lines, prop bets, everything in there. It's an incredible value, and you should really take a look at it. Fantasy Points promo code is in there. I will put it in the description below where you can find it. We really appreciate that, and I appreciate your support there. So I will see you guys next time. I'm recording this 2 days before Christmas, so if you are out there I hope you have a happy holidays. You stay safe, you stay healthy, and I appreciate you guys.